Wrestling Guys. Hello, Dayton, the Wrestling Guys, once again at Buckeye Country 106.5. I am Shawn Stidham, Willie F. in the studio.
Hello.
Across the board, you're Julia, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
when I checked.
We were talking about
when is the last time that you checked,
Okay.
by the way?
We talked earlier about maybe doing a gimmick change, like changing the name.
Changing the name from the
That's what we're
69th Wonder of the World?
Yeah, well, maybe just that, you know.
Oh, Jay.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
It's just a mouthful to say all that at once.
I'm not even going to go there.
We can't go there. So, a lot of things we are going to cover tonight. Obviously, we are 1 week into the new ownership of WCW. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, ECW, big news about something that could possibly be happening with them.
Yeah, and actually, someone sent me an email. There's a Save ECW campaign going on. Do you know about this?
I've heard about that, and
I don't know how they got my email address, but they sent it to me, and I signed the petition.
But, so we're going to talk about that, plus a whole bunch of other stuff as the night goes on. But first, let's go ahead and get into the news. Ratings are in. Raw did a 5.2, some of their best numbers in a long time. Monday Night Football is gone. You don't have the competition from... the American Music Awards and...
but you still have the Mole.
Yeah, I know the Mole's some stiff competition,
sure
but...
wonderful.
But, and maybe even better, Nitro banged out a 2.6.
That's pretty good for them.
So very good numbers, of course, showing Sid's ankle getting snapped at the beginning.
What was that quarter hour?
Because
I haven't even heard it.
Actually, that quarter hour was a 3.0. The following 8:15 to 8:30, the Goldberg funeral was a 3.4. So actually, you didn't get the highest numbers of the night. But
okay.
Certainly pulled in a nice little audience for Sid Vicious. Speaking of Sid Vicious, actually doing very well. I think he was
what I've heard.
Taken out of the hospital today, released. Actually putting weight onto the ankle. For those of you that don't know, Sid broke his leg Sunday night at the pay-per-view. I'm sure you saw it Monday on
the
Joe
Theismann break. It wasn't just a break.
That was worse than Theismann.
It was.
I said, it was more like the Tim Crumry break at the Super Bowl because you actually saw his ankle flopping around.
Yes.
You like that, Julia? Oh, I'm sorry, Jay.
Jay.
Okay, Jay.
No, I probably couldn't have gone without seeing that whole thing.
But
do we call her like Single J then?
I think so, yeah.
Single J.
But Sid had a compound fracture, broke 2 bones right above the ankle, and had surgery. Put pressure on it yesterday a couple of times to help the bones fuse together. So it looks like he's going to turn out to be okay.
They're still saying 5 to 8 months, though. Right?
Yeah, because and compounding the problem is they also found a broken bone in his back.
Right.
So,
They didn't know it was there?
No, didn't know it was there.
Oh,
they don't know when it happened. It was just there.
It got aggravated, supposedly, when he got thrown over the guardrail.
How could you not know? I would be like, ouch.
Well, that's why he said.
Yeah, he's a lot of bones.
Exactly.
He has a lot of bones. If you just break one of them, it doesn't matter.
Also, one guy that is on the mend a little more than he was originally is Al Snow. Al Snow was in a... what could have been a very horrific car accident over the weekend. It could have been tragic. Al was near his home in Lima, and I guess there were like 3 or 4 teenagers that were driving, and they claim they hit a patch of ice and went across the yellow line and hit Al head-on. The kids, I believe, are still in the hospital intensive care, but it looks like they're going to make it. Al suffered a broken knuckle, sprained his neck. He was already recovering from a broken hand, so it's going to set him back a little bit. But, the good news is everybody's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard everyone's going to be okay, too.
And that's good, because we all, in reality, don't we all just want to be okay?
What?
That's, I think, what we're all striving for.
And most of the times I'm not, so...
All right, big news from possibly big news about Extreme Championship Wrestling. This comes from Dave Shear at OneWrestling.com. Reportedly, there is a deal on the table for ECW to get on Fox Sports and or FX. However, ECW right now is saying that is not the right deal for them. It's more like a TNN offer, and that really wouldn't benefit ECW. It would probably just put them more in debt.
Well, what will benefit ECW?
What will benefit ECW is an international wrestling company, they're not saying who, has made a move in the last 24 hours to possibly buy into ECW and work with them.
An international
wrestling company. Now, we don't know who it is. Again, this is according to Dave Shear of OneWrestling.com, who you and I both know, one of the best in the business.
Absolutely.
So, this is pretty credible. The one thing I've heard, and we've heard this too, is that there's a possibility Eric Bischoff may like to strike up a deal with ECW, maybe even bring in Paul Heyman.
I don't see that.
I can see Eric Bischoff wanting that to happen.
Sure.
But I don't see Paul Heyman, unless he's just at the point where it's, pay your bills or die.
Right.
And I think Paul Heyman would choose death over working with Eric Bischoff.
Yeah,
but,
actually, I do too.
We will wait and see. Mentioned this on the hotline yesterday, and when you think that there is no other gimmicks you can do, that everything has been done in wrestling as far as matches and stipulations. We saw the spanking match on Monday night.
Oh, wait, I think I know where you're going with
We've
this.
seen a penalty box match on Sunday at the pay-per-view.
Yes.
In this case, FMW over in Japan. Two guys. And I hope I get these names right. Kodo Fuyuki?
If you get them wrong, no one's going to know if you got them wrong.
Japanese dude number one and
Japanese dude number two. I like that.
If dude number one wins
That's right.
the match, he must retire from wrestling.
If he wins.
If he wins. If he loses, he has to divorce his wife.
Yes. Wait.
What?
No, wait. It gets better. It gets better.
How?
If dude number two loses, he has to marry some other girl.
He has to marry, some
this other girl. If he wins, then dude number one still has to divorce his wife, so dude number two can marry her.
Yes.
You want to talk creativity?
Normally, I would think that they only have this type of matches in Arkansas, but this is Japan.
That's with cousins.
Yes, that's right.
That's a cousin match. So when you think that there's nothing original left to do in wrestling, by God, leave it to Japan to pull something out of the hat. Speaking of Japan, Tatsumi Fujinami, New Japan president, apparently wants to work out a deal between them and WCW. He's going to fly to Atlanta to meet with Eric Bischoff to discuss future plans between the two companies. So it looks like possibly another influx of Japanese talent coming to WCW again. Not that it really worked the first time, but we'll see what happens. I think if you get Muda...
I think he wants like
Sasuke is another guy.
I think he wants like a lot of the because he had a meeting with the he called them the lightweights,
right?
Even though they're the cruiserweights, he had a meeting with them and basically said, "Hey, I really like what you guys are doing.
Right?
Keep it up. You got and they're really going to be pushing the cruiserweight division. And actually, that's a really good idea because that's probably the most enjoyable stuff with WCW right now.
Last week, Eric Bischoff did an interview with WCW Live where he talked a lot about his future plans for the company. So we're going to look at that interview and, reiterate some of the things Eric Bischoff had to say. Thunder is on tonight. Your hardcore match is one of the main events. Ming versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
But actually, I heard Thunder is not a bad show.
You know what? I think the booking has been a little bit off kilter, over the weekend with the pay-per-view and Nitro. However, I think the guys are working harder than we've ever seen them work.
I agree.
Kevin Nash broke a sweat.
I thought Nitro was
amazing.
Good. Nitro was a good show. Julia, I know you didn't watch it, but Nitro was a good show.
Actually,
tonight.
I did watch like the first hour.
And what'd you think? I mean, after the overlong funeral segment,
to be honest,
it was actually really good.
That's what got me. That was way too long.
Well, it was.
Way too long. It was bad.
Also tonight on Thunder, Jeff Jarrett against Diamond Dallas Page. Totally Buff takes on Chronic, and Mike Awesome with his new haircut.
Yes,
the
mullet is gone.
You can see him take on Billy Kidman. Thunder for tomorrow night. You're going to have Saturn against Chris Jericho. Also, a cat fight between Trish and Stephanie.
Yeah.
That's always worth the price of admission.
That is worth the price.
Test versus Val Venus. Steve Blackman takes on Hardcore Holly. And in a six-man tag, you've got Kurt Angle, Rikishi, and Kane taking on The Rock, Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That is on SmackDown on Thursday. So that is a quick rundown of what has happened. Keep you up to date in the news. Again, if you want to get up to date 24 hours.
News.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I got to plug the hotline real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
If you want news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the Wrestling Guys hotline 285-0991. Now your news.
This is exclusive news.
Exclusive.
Because I heard it from the HWA themselves.
Yes.
They barely got the Big Show to do the Grand Victoria on the 26th of January. Because on the 31st, he goes back up to the WWF.
Really?
Yes.
So you have heard it here first.
It is
the
first.
Big Show is going back to the World Wrestling Federation January 31st.
That is the last time that you will see him in basically OVW.
Oh, it's the 26th.
Is the 26th.
Which is very cool. Yeah. Again, because when you're talking about the OVW setting over at the Grand Vic and in the HWA, it's more of an intimate setting, like 500 people, 700 people maybe.
Yeah, I think they can fit about 700 in there.
So it's a very small arena, very intimate, and, again, it's Mark Henry supposedly is looking very good as well.
That's what I've heard.
They're saying when he comes back, he could really, really make a strong heel.
Yes.
And so that will be very interesting. So a little exclusive.
A little exclusive.
Nice
Thank you very much.
there.
Exclusive here.
So tomorrow you're going to see, according to Willie F. of the Wrestling Guys.
You know what? And you need to see that somewhere. Mostly it's on police blotters, so you need to see, actually, my name somewhere.
When we come back, we're going to talk about WCW. Take your phone calls. 457-1065. You're listening to The Wrestling Guys.
On 106.5 Buckeye Country.
Welcome back to The Wrestling Guys on Buckeye Country 106.5. Brought to you by Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz.
Put a tiger on your team.
Little 7-second delay. Willie's on a 7-second delay tonight. So put a tiger on your team. Call 1-800-INJURED. And as we talked about early on, last Thursday, the announcement was made that Fusion Media Ventures is now the company that owns World Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, we don't have a big announcement this week. It's kind of a letdown.
Well, maybe the
last week
ECW thing could work out. We got a couple hours or something to shake it down.
We might still get something.
But Fusion Media Ventures, a little background on this company. The two guys that run that, Steven Greenberg and Brian, is it Bedall or Bedall? I haven't heard the name.
I have no idea.
Anyway, they originally started...
They don't put that little, parentheses around the name to the full phonics.
They originally started the Classic Sports Network, which eventually was sold to ESPN, became ESPN Classic. Brian is now the official president of WCW. He is going to run the business side, which admittedly was Eric Bischoff's weakness when he was in charge last time. Eric is going to be in charge of the creative side of things. He has total control over there. 30 to 60 days is when the sale will become complete. At that time, they're going to announce who exactly is in the ownership group. We believe Hulk Hogan's money is involved in this at some point. There was even rumors that George Steinbrenner was part of this. That was shot down.
False.
That was proven false, at least for now. So very interesting to see what kind of changes they're going to make. Eric Bischoff last week was on WCW Live, their internet show, and said there's a possibility that they may shut down WCW for a couple of weeks to kind of work everything out. WCW Nitro is not on next Monday, correct?
It's on Tuesday.
It's on Tuesday, but it's not on Monday.
Right.
But
and actually, they finally did the brilliant thing of putting that at the bottom of the screen, where people could actually see.
Oh my God, that took a lot of time.
Letting people know, when the show's going to be on.
No, it did. How many times have they been preempted for something?
Exactly.
I just now thought of that.
Bischoff said that Hulk Hogan has not been offered the Booker role. He said he doesn't know who's going to take over that job. Would not comment about Vince Russo. So I think, Russo did set himself up pretty nicely should something like this happen.
Yes, he did.
Russo has it in his contract that if he is fired or whatever, just let go, he still gets his full money.
Yes.
So, which is in the 7 figures range. So,
yep.
Vince Russo is going to be just fine if you care.
What's going to happen to Brad Siegel?
Brad Siegel will still have a job in Time Warner, I believe.
So he's going to stay with Time Warner.
He'll stay with Time Warner.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Scott Hall, he said there's a possibility if Scott Hall gets everything worked out in his personal life that Scott could come back. Obviously, you got to think if Kevin Nash has any kind of influence with Eric Bischoff like he did before, you got to think Scott Hall would be back in a heartbeat.
No, I would think so.
He said that he did not like WCW the way they tried to copy the WWF in a lot of angles. He thought a lot of the stuff WCW has done recently with language and whatnot basically was cheap heat, which I don't know if Eric Bischoff's going to try and run this organization, like we saw WCW in the mid-'90s, no blood, no off-the-top ropes and stuff like that, or if it's going to be have some cutting edge to it.
I've never understood the phrase cheap heat, and I will never will understand the phrase cheap heat.
And for those that don't understand cheap heat, explain it.
Okay. Heat is basically if you're getting the crowd reaction, and, if it can be both. There can be, good heat and bad heat. The good guys, I'll put it in simple layman terms as I possibly can. The good guys getting good heat, which means the fans are all around them and supporting them and cheering. And of course, then I guess bad heat then of course would be when they
boo you.
Right, when they boo you. And I think that you can get anything to get a crowd reaction. You just want the reaction. So I don't think there is anything called cheap heat.
A perfect example is Mick Foley. Whenever he was the commissioner and go in and mention the name of the town and the crowd would pop, that is considered a cheap pop.
Right.
It's an easy way to get a reaction.
Right, but it still works.
Absolutely. Bischoff said he does not know if he's going to be on camera. He doesn't really see a role for him at this point. And when asked about the announcing team, he said the announcing has not been great. However, the product has not been that good either.
But it's been a lot better with 2 announcers than
Did you
than
notice
3.
on Sunday night at the pay-per-view how many times Tony Schiavone and Scott Hudson said they were honored to be at WCW, the first pay-per-view of the
Yes.
year? It just kind of reinforcing that, hey, we really love being here,
We
Eric.
love being here.
Eric Bischoff would not comment about possibly relocating the operations to another city.
Though I heard a lot of the offices already moved.
Really?
I heard that they were thinking about moving a lot of the offices up to Fusion, and I can't remember where Fusion is.
They got one in New York,
Exactly
one in
located.
Los Angeles. There's 2 different offices.
I think it was up to New York.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. You know, the one guy who's now the president, Brian, he's actually from Cleveland.
Really?
So a little bit of Ohio connection there. Don't know if it's ever going to mean anything for us, but
No.
just, something.
Well, we still won't get any pay-per-views, and we won't get a Nitro, and we won't get a Raw.
Cleveland will. Cleveland will.
Cleveland will.
Cleveland will. Eric Bischoff said, you know what? The WWF, they're great, but they're not unbeatable. And
I agree with that because, Dave Shearer, we'll bring up Dave Shearer's name again, he wrote something saying that he thought it was great that WCW was sold and has new ownership and has a new direction.
Right.
Because that doesn't allow the WWF to basically coast. And they have been coasting for a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will, because really, I don't know how you guys thought, but I thought Nitro was a much better show than Raw was last night.
The work ethic, I mentioned this earlier, has been tremendous since Bischoff took over. You'll see again tonight on Thunder from what we've read on the reports that the guys are working really, really hard, and people want to go, well, it's Bischoff. He screwed up before, but this guy, there is nobody else out there that would have went through the effort to put together the money to buy WCW.
I agree.
You're talking about a company again that's lost millions and millions and millions of dollars, and yet he wants to go in and turn this thing around. At least they now have somebody who gives a damn about the direction.
Right.
Bill Bush was a numbers guy. And Bill Bush, the way he handled the Radicals thing and the way he let, the Vince Russo, Kelvin Sullivan flip-flop, he lost all the respect of the guys in the locker room. He could not control it. Vince Russo's only concern was putting himself over and telling everybody that he was as good as Vince McMahon, which he was not.
No, he was not.
And I think that he was proven. And Brad Siegel was there simply to cut costs.
Yes.
So now there's somebody there that says, you know what, this can be the #1 company. We're going to make it the #1 company. Bischoff has given a couple of locker room speeches so far. The guys are very enthused. They're very optimistic. And at least now they have a direction. And so let's face it, I don't think there's anywhere they can go except up.
I agree. Here's the one thing that I think that they're gonna maybe fail on, and it's the same reason that the NWO failed. The only problem that I had with Monday's Nitro is that you had guys going to the back, and saying, "Hey, you want to be a part of our group? Come on, you want to be a part of our group?" And they're asking basically everybody. So it's not going to be an elitist thing again. And if it's not an elitist thing, if they're just going to allow anybody to join that group, then, who cares?
I don't know how much of that is Eric Bischoff because, again, Bischoff said going into the pay-per-view, I'm really not going to have any involvement. I'm going to be there if anybody asks questions. I'm sure maybe he, was asked his opinion on a couple of things, but I still don't think that until the sale is actually complete and they sign the dotted line and 1 to 2 months from now, that Bischoff is really going to have a hands-on. I think they're going to basically, the guys you're going to see a great work ethic because people are going to want to prove themselves and keep their job. But in a couple of months, they're going to say, okay, you know what, as he said in his interview, we're going to shut down for a couple of weeks, we're going to start back up, and it's going to be the new WCW. I still think you're going to see a new announcing team. It's going to be very interesting.
But at the same time, you're still having the announcers come on and say, hey, it's a new WCW. It's a brand new WCW on. That's what you have right now.
It'll be very interesting. 457-106.
I've got another exclusive, too.
You got another exclusive.
Well, and I don't know if it's exclusive or not, but I've got it.
Okay.
I know for a fact that today the Spider-Man film... No, this is true.
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Was this on? Was this on?
This is on already. Yeah, it's not total exclusive. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, it wasn't on any of the main sites yet. But yes, they actually did film today. They filmed the segment with Randy Macho Man Savage, the wrestler thing. Did you see some of the signs too? I don't even have a list of them.
I haven't seen the signs yet, but. I knew they were filming that today.
There's a list. If you're on the internet and go like to darkhorizons.com, which is like a movie buff place to go, and actually you might even be able to get to. I think there's a website out there called Spider-Man Hype,
Yeah, there is.
.com.
Yes, there is.
And they had, I guess they are flooding. They are actually flooding the arenas with signs for this. Do you remember what his name is in this?
I don't remember what his name is, but
it's something McGraw.
Well, I think they've changed it for the movie. I'm not positive of that, but I know what you're
like Butch McGraw or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that was filmed today.
Thanks for sharing.
You know, the one thing...
Julia, what kind of news do you bring to the table?
Okay, wait, but we're going to parlay this in the wrestling a little more. I think with Randy Savage doing that movie,
yes,
I think that will be his ticket to get back into one of the big companies.
He's raising their hand.
That's Jay.
You're in timeout.
Yeah, you're in timeout.
I have news.
No, you don't.
What kind of news? What kind of news?
Hold on, I'm talking here.
All right, sorry.
Bless it. But you got to think Spider-Man. This really isn't new. Spider-Man's going to be big.
It's May 2002. May 2002.
Yeah, X-Men was big. Spider-Man will be big.
Spider-Man's going to be absolutely huge, and I think if WCW is looking for a way to get some mainstream pop,
absolutely.
Hey, Randy, because in the interview, Bischoff said Savage is the guy he still thinks could go. Savage comes back in for, even if it's for a year.
Yeah.
And they can get that rub of, hey, WCW superstar Randy Savage is in what could be the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah.
So, it could be a cool thing for Randy Savage and WCW. Take a call real quick, 457-1065.
Wait, she had news. Hold on. She had news.
Okay, Julia, what news do you have?
She's going to start pacing and stuff.
Speaking of comic books, X-Men is coming out, possibly with the second movie.
Yes.
Just that one. And from what I understand, you probably already know this, but The Rock was probably going to play the Beast.
No, that has been shot down.
That has been shot down. You see, if you call the wrestling guys hotline...
You need to call that every day.
Because
we did 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, Willie had that.
I had that, and it was shot down. It was just a rumor.
It was just a rumor.
He is going to go off to do the Scorpion King
instead.
He's getting paid $5 million to do that film.
Gosh.
He is not going to do the X-Men.
Now, there is talk about The Rock possibly being the new Conan the Barbarian.
That's been around for a while, though.
Shot down yet, but it's out there.
They're going to make a movie of it. I never know.
They already made one.
They made two.
I don't watch that stuff.
They only made it like 15 years ago or something. Or wasn't it like that? It was something like 15 years. It's like, I know this is off wrestling tangent, but Hollywood's run out of ideas. They're bringing E.T. back out. All right, come on.
Really?
Yes,
they are.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's go to caller.
457-1065. Julia, give us somebody to talk to.
This is Dean.
Hey, Dean, what's up?
How you doing, sir?
Good.
I'm the owner of UWF, Ultimate Wrestling Federation.
What is that?
Wrestling organization we're having.
Where is it based out of?
Fairborn, Ohio.
Okay.
And we have a show at John Brown Community Center, January 20th.
Okay.
And I'd like for everybody to come out. Playboy Buddy Rose is going to be there.
Okay.
Playboy Buddy Rose?
Yes, sir.
Playboy Buddy Rose.
The original, yes, sir.
Okay.
Rough Rider 2000, Austin Bossman Taylor, J.W. Hawk, a couple more stars, Minister of Pain, L.A. Thunder.
Okay.
And we'd like everybody to come out and enjoy the show. Bell time 7:45.
Okay.
And when is that again?
Saturday night, January 20th.
This Saturday.
Now, we heard also that, was there a Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer or something like that on the card?
Yes, sir, there was.
Now, you realize Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer is dead.
Yes, the original. This is one of the original Mad Dog Buzz Sawyers.
Wait, Buzz Sawyer was not like Doink the Clown. There wasn't like 2 or 3 Buzz Sawyers.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right, well, good luck on the show this weekend.
That's this weekend.
That's Saturday.
Playboy Buddy Rose, though.
Playboy Buddy Rose, who last I heard was like in jail for, not paying child support.
But he may be there.
He could be there.
Okay.
He's alive. If a guy's breathing, I guess he could be at the show. Buzz Sawyer's died. There wasn't 3 or 4 Buzz Sawyers.
No.
There was one Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. And if there is a guy out there calling himself Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, that's a ripoff.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You put that name on a poster, there's a lot of people out there that's going to go, oh, Buzz Sawyer. They don't know he's dead.
Well, maybe it's Buzz Sawyer Jr.
Well, then say Buzz Sawyer Jr. Say it's Brett Sawyer or whatever. I mean, Brett Sawyer's his brother. He's still around. But I don't know about it. I mean, if it's, good luck with the show. I know Mike West, he's a good guy.
Yeah, Mike West is on there.
Absolutely.
And fabulous Frederick from Hollywood.
Frederick's a good guy. They were on the Wrestling Guys Independent Showcase. Two good workers. I hope they do well. But to put Buzz Sawyer's name on there, even if it's a guy who's calling himself Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, that is not fair.
No, I agree.
That is cheap heat.
Wow,
that
Shawn.
is cheap heat.
Able to link all that stuff together.
We're becoming like
Almost professionals.
We're going to go to a break. 457-1065 is our phone number. When we come back, your phone calls and a whole lot more. It is the Wrestling Guys
on Buckeye Country 106.5.
Welcome back to the Wrestling Guys, Buckeye Country 106.5. I am Shawn Stidham, Willie F. in this week. And
yes.
Do it. Do the plug.
For what?
We have a thing called a sponsor. In radio, you have advertisers.
Well, you need to
every week. Come
you
on.
see,
every week.
This show always wants to make me look bad because we talk. But we talk during the breaks about just like stuff.
Yeah.
And we never throw in, hey, when we come back, why don't you go ahead and throw that this show is sponsored by Dyer, Garofalo, Mann and Schultz. Put a Tiger on your team. 1-800-INJURED. Offices all around the Miami Valley. See, and then I would have been able to do it. I would have done that.
I have a question. When you were here last week.
Yes.
And when you were here before.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I know how unorganized this show can be. You're right. And I just need to be, I'm sorry, I just need to be on my tiptoes.
You need it's a give and take, Willie. You need to just be on your toes. You can't sit back and,
Everyone else is paying attention. It's not our fault that you're not. I mean, come on.
sorry.
I mean, do I have to call Cam Collins?
No, please don't.
I wouldn't tell him. Anyway, let's take some phone calls. 457-1065 is your phone number. Let's go to line 2 and talk to Shawn in Inglewood. Welcome to the Wrestling Guys.
Hi.
Hey.
I got a question about Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah.
Why did he come back to WCW as the mystery wrestler in the pay-per-view on Sunday?
Okay, go ahead. I know the answer to this, too.
The big thing is that they wanted to really surprise people. Obviously, all the internet talk, and even under the mask, Rick Steiner had been, assumed to be the person that was going to become the mystery man. But to really bring Animal in there was, let's face it, none of us knew.
No.
Nobody at all knew it was Animal.
But you knew as soon as the mask came off, you knew exactly who it was. All the wrestling fans knew who it was. I heard that it was actually planned for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That they were going to have Animal do it. And not only that, but it doesn't hurt that your brother... Your brother, Johnny Ace, is basically behind the scenes on the creative team with WCW. So that doesn't hurt either.
Nepotism at its finest. It's very nice to actually be surprised.
And we are surprised.
Even with, that we find out from that we kind of step back on, we really don't give out the SmackDown results or Thunder results. If we do on the hotline, because it's a slow news day, we say, hey, you know what? If you don't want to know this, hang up now.
Right, exactly.
And so to actually be surprised was very, very cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I was very surprised.
One of our favorite people on line 3.
He's calling up to actually get the spelling of my name right for the exclusive I've already thrown out there.
BJ Bethel, how you doing? Welcome to the Wrestling Guys.
Spelling of your name right.
That's right. I already gave. You didn't hear my exclusive news?
What exclusive news is that?
The Big Show is back in WWF on the 31st.
Oh, I did hear that.
Okay. Make sure. I just want to spell my name right.
Now, what you want to do is say, according to Shawn Stidham and Willie after the Wrestling
Guys. That's right.
Emphasize the Shawn first.
Okay.
You don't mind Willie, right?
No, that's fine.
Here,
No, that's fine. Okay, you've been doing the show longer than I have.
BJ, what's up, man?
Hey, nothing much, guys. The name of the wrestler in the Spider-Man movie originally was Crusher Hogan.
Yeah, but they changed it now to like McGraw. It's
really?
Like McGraw something.
Like the crime dog?
Well, I got no idea.
Like okay.
But that's what the original
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Like on one of the breaks, I'll look it up.
Now, you have entered the, the array of wrestling websites that are out there. You're starting out with your own, right?
Yes, that would be correct.
And plug it.
Okay.
You got 50,000 watts. Don't just sit there. That's correct.
I'm not sitting. Hey, I'm on a 50.
It's a segue for you to plug yourself, BJ.
Well, I'm used to doing the plugging, all right? I'm the plugging machine.
Actually,
we know.
I plug the 50,000
I heard Jay was used to doing the plugging, but that's a whole different topic.
All right, it's called the Wrestling Press. You can go to it at WrestlingPress.com. It's a brand new website. It's totally different than anything you've seen out there right now.
Yeah.
It's a magazine-style website. We're focusing on writing, columns, that kind of stuff. If you're a big wrestling fan, you should definitely check this out. This isn't the news board crap with, the 5,000 fake links saying you want to see Stephanie with a sheet, click this.
That's right.
You're not going to get any of that. No cutting and pasting. It's brand new.
And you never know who may have a column on there.
That's true.
you met. I heard some guy may have on there. You may have heard his name before.
Brock Guffman?
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I heard.
I don't know. I'm kind of upset at him, though. Him and GQ Masters called me a homer the last time I saw him in person. But, that was kind of upsetting. But, yeah, you guys should, when you guys out there looking for something new to check out on the Internet, you should definitely go check out this website. It's a lot of fun.
I'm sorry, BJ. I didn't mean...
It cuts me off, so why not you?
No, I was going to say, now, who do you have, writing columns for you right now?
All right now we got Jefferson Allen of NWA East, White Trash Hero, who has an interesting
Cornbread.
story. Oh, yeah. And Cornbread.
He likes that name, I know.
Oh, really? I've never met him personally, but...
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and we got Kirk.
Go ahead.
I know you're very, very familiar with Kirk Shepard.
Yes.
He runs your guys' website at the HWA. We got some other people lined up. We got Rod and Brent at Chair Shots, who are having Spike Dudley on in the studio for the entire night tomorrow night.
Really?
At chairshots.com. So I am the human plugging machine.
Yes.
And, we got a bunch of other stuff coming. I'm hopefully going to have some more writers come in by the...
The story, by B.J. Bethel, by B.J. Bethel,
Yes.
by B.J. Bethel. So he's all over the place.
Well, Brad Asoba basically said this. He goes, "You're kind of like dog crap. I see you everywhere." Which I don't know if that was a compliment or what, but yeah, we did pull the trifecta a few weeks ago. We got on the Torch, the Observer, and on OneWrestling.com.
But at least everyone's picking up the dog crap, so that's
definitely.
you're keeping the city clean.
Oh, yeah.
One more time, B.J., for those that want to see it. What is it again?
It's the Wrestling Press. It's at WrestlingPress.com, and I have to give a shout-out real quick to my fiancée, Sarah, who's listening right now.
Yes, you do have to take care of that.
Yes, she's they big Buckeye Country fans up in St. Mary's, so I just want to say hi to her.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate the job you do, and I know you do a lot for us as far as helping get us coverage on the Internet, so best of luck to you again, thewrestlingpress.com.
Okay, WrestlingPress.com, and it's Willie with 3 L's, right?
No, it's just 2.
BJ, thanks a lot. Good luck with the website, man.
See you later.
All right, take care, BJ Bethel. And actually, in this, hopefully in about 3 weeks, the Wrestling Guys website will be back up.
Really?
Yes. So some things are being reorganized and shuffled around, but
I kind of like the new look.
You like just the page that said, "We'll see you later."
Just the white, snowy, pasty
it was
look.
winter, and we thought, some white. We want something that's relaxing and calming.
You didn't want them to have to read a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Just read a little thing. Hey, we'll be back soon.
We'll be right back. I hope that there's like somebody just staring in front of their computer going, "When they're coming back?"
Yeah, they keep hitting the refresh button. It's the same people. Hey, when's the Undertaker coming back? Those same people.
One thing we wanted to mention real quick, because in that same vein, as far as when's this guy coming back, Wade Keller of the Pro Wrestling Torch is reporting that Shawn Michaels is in negotiations to make his return at WrestleMania and against possibly, and this of course the match that everybody's wanted to see Shawn Michaels come back for, Shawn Michaels versus Triple H.
Which, I still see them going with an Austin Triple H at WrestleMania.
You don't see Austin Rock?
No.
Why not?
Well, I think The Rock needs to take time off for Scorpion King.
Okay.
And, that's what I would first say. Hey, that's your moneymaker right there. Austin versus Rock. Austin versus Rock. But it just doesn't seem like they're playing it out that way.
But the WWF WrestleMania is still the biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
The Rock, even though Austin is, nearing 100% as far as being back, Rock is still your number one guy. I don't think there's any way that WrestleMania happens this year without The Rock or Austin in the main event. Triple H could be thrown in there in a three-way.
Right.
But I still think they're going to go one-on-one, Austin versus Rock, and that is when Austin will, once again become the WWF champion.
I mean, as it plays out right now, this is what I would see. I would see Triple H winning the belt from Angle. Mm-hmm. Then I would see Austin winning the Royal Rumble, which puts Austin versus Triple H. Mm-hmm. That's what I see.
No, here's the one thing I have heard that's being batted around is that of course the Rumble's this weekend. If you want to chime in with who you think is going to win, don't say Road Warrior Animal. I don't think it's going to be him.
No.
But what I've heard is that Triple H gets the belt this weekend.
Yes.
Then between now and Rock wins the Royal Rumble. Between now and WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels makes his return, not actually wrestling, but interferes with Triple H, costing because Triple H gets the belt this weekend, Triple H loses the belt to The Rock.
Okay.
So the person that was supposed to get the shot at the Royal Rumble actually becomes the champion before WrestleMania.
And then the number 2 guy out of the Royal Rumble would take the shot.
Austin still has to jump through the hoops with the McMahons to get his shot. Eventually, he gets the shot at WrestleMania. So Rock goes in defending the belt against Austin in the home state of Texas. Austin, back home. Michaels takes on Triple H at WrestleMania. Austin, Rock, your main event for WrestleMania.
I like that.
Could happen.
I like that.
Then again, I'm not a booker. So
no, you're not.
We're going to take a break, 457-1065. When we come back, we've got Dr. Love Stevie Hayes, OCW. They're running a show Saturday. He's going to be on the line. Also, a little bit later on tonight, UCW. Everybody's got a show this weekend.
It's a plethora of shows.
Absolutely. Your phone calls and more when we come back. It is the Wrestling Guys.
On Buckeye Country 106.5.
Back here on the Wrestling Guys, Buckeye Country 106.5. We are brought... My mic's now on. Okay, Julie, when the light goes on, you give me the signal. Please turn on the microphone. That's all I ask.
I just wanted
I'm sorry,
to talk.
Jay. That's all I ask.
I just wanted to talk.
I've heard that about you.
There's 3
anyway.
different mics to choose from. Give me a break.
Okay, 1, 2, and 3. I know numbers is still, we're early in that part of your
I didn't
development.
know which one was the news mic and which one was mic 2.
All right. Anyway, the Wrestling Guys brought to you by Dia Garofalo, Mann and Schultz. Normally at this time, Willie would say, put a tiger on your team, but Willie had to go to the little boys' room. So, anyway.
Too much information.
Too much information, I know. But, we don't kayfabe here. Willie, you okay? Willie's coming back in. You're all right, right? Okay, good. That's right, Coke machine. All right, that's what it was. Anyway, 6 offices around the Dayton area. Call 1-800-INJURED. Put a tiger on your team. Back to the phone calls and on line 4 from Outlaw Championship Wrestling. He is the Doctor of Love, Stevie Hayes. Doctor, how are you?
Not too bad. Not only the Doctor of Love, the new commissioner of OCW.
You are now the commissioner of OCW.
Oh, yeah. You should have seen Dave Diamond pouting last weekend when he didn't get it. It was funny. He looked like a little baby sitting up there.
I've heard a lot of, comments about Dave Diamond and how he looks. Like a baby is not one I think I've ever heard before.
No.
Oh, yeah, he had his lips stuck out about 3 inches pouting, and he decided he wanted to quit, and he didn't know what he wanted to do. I got a surprise for him this Saturday night in Fairborn, though.
Now, you guys are going to be running your old stomping grounds, Old Timers Banquet Hall, right?
Yeah, 57 East Dayton Yellow Springs Road.
And you got a kind of a really loaded show. You've got Maniac Mark Mustang, who's retired, but he's going to be managing for you this weekend. Big Jim Hutchinson's the new OCW champion. He's going to be there this weekend. So you guys are loading up for this Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, and we also got that tag team Texas Death Match, Tornado, Hardcore Match, whatever they're calling it. But last weekend, these 4 boys, they damn near killed each other. It was really, they find it entertaining. I find it pretty wild. I wouldn't put myself through that. What they went through last weekend was unreal.
I don't blame you. Those guys are a little bit wacky when it comes to the hardcore, so I can't say I blame you. People want to find out information about the show. What's the number, Doc?
229-8189.
All right. Best of luck to you.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
If you call our hotline tonight, Dave Diamond has some breaking news in there about Metallica. Apparently, at 9 o'clock this morning, their bass player quit playing.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's true.
I did not know that.
It's true.
Yeah.
They've been broadcasting on the radio all day.
So, all right.
I did not know that. Woodchuck's like crying now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The bass player's gone.
Dayton police, please monitor the bridges and everything because we are now worried about Woodchuck. So, all right. Hey, Doc, best of luck to you Saturday.
You too, Doc.
Thank you very much. Dr. Love Stevie Hayes from OCW Outlaw Championship Wrestling. There you go. Line 5, Suicide X from West Milton. Welcome to the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, I was wondering, at the Royal Rumble, will it become Austin and Rock? Will they pull like the Bret Hart, Lex Luger thing they did a long time ago?
It could. I mean, you mean where both guys go over the rope at once?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they'll go that route. I was surprised. I really thought they were going to take this Rumble and make it for the WWF title. I thought there'd be some kind of way that Angle would, lose the belt and it'd be vacated or whatnot. But, obviously they're not going to go that route. I still think Rock is going to come out of the Rumble the winner. However, WWF, a lot of times, whenever you think you have it, the quote Roddy Piper, when you have the answers, they change the questions.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, too.
All right, so you think it's Rock?
I think it's going to be Austin Triple H.
See? But now, who's going to win the Rumble, though?
The Rumble?
We've seen this in the last few years. Just because you win the Rumble doesn't mean you end up at WrestleMania. Vince McMahon, a perfect example a couple years ago.
I think Shawn Michaels might come out there and interfere and let, one of the wrestlers win, Austin Rock.
Well, Michaels has said he will not be at the Rumble, but then again, if they were going to have that kind of surprise, I don't think I would admit that I'm going to be there either.
I think the Rumble is going to be the time for K-Quick to get the push that he so richly deserves.
Oh, that's what's going to happen. He's going to win the title.
He's going to win the Rumble.
K-Quick, there you go.
My other question will be, do you think China might win the women's title?
I would be shocked if she didn't.
Yes, I would too.
I don't know.
Because Val Venus might interfere.
Nowadays, you also have to look at the other outside circumstances, like talking about The Rock earlier with the Scorpion King.
Yes.
China's book comes out in a couple of weeks. She's going to be doing the media circuit. She'll be doing Regis and all those other shows. And what better way to introduce her than as WWF Women's Champion China?
I totally agree because I love China and I want to marry her.
Well, you may have some difficulty with that, but best of luck to you.
And my final question is, I want to vote. I want to vote that I think we should keep the 69th wonder of the world.
No, we're not voting getting rid of her. We're just saying,
just the name.
I need the name. We got to keep the nickname.
I think the nickname can stay, but as far as her, her real first name, she just now wants to be known as
You
Jay.
just have to understand, when she walks down the street, she's starting to get stares. People are asking her, why are you the 69th wonder of the world? Things of that nature. And you know what? She likes to please all the fans, but, you just can't do it in a week's time.
Okay. Can you guys blow me up?
Yeah, blow him up, Julia. Take care of him. And, we honor all requests just about here at the restaurant. There you go. Wow, that was... He was in the middle saying something there.
That's what he gets. You want to be blown up. But you know what? Talking about China and the women's title, and I'm sure she'll win unless someone interferes, but not too long ago, she was actually cutting down on the women's title.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's like she doesn't really need it because she competes with, obviously, the male.
Someone asked her recently if she still thinks that Trish Stratus was, got where she was on her looks, and she said, well, yeah. Still,
And then,
no, because she's downplaying the women.
she is. She did that.
She's already said, hey, I fought the guys. I fought, I fought Eddie Guerrero and everything.
But from a storyline perspective, you're making it personal because Ivory was one of the people that put her out.
Yes.
So it makes sense for her to go after Ivory to get revenge. So in a storyline sense, it would work. Now, how do you take the belt from her? That is, that's the $1 million question.
Exactly.
So,
have you read the reviews on her book yet?
Yes.
I read a couple.
Yes. What do you think?
They're okay.
Not bad. She's very revealing in the book.
That's what I've heard,
about her past and everything else, and things with her family that we just shouldn't.
And the whole Triple H.
Everything you wanted to know about her and Triple H, she'll find out most of it.
That's what I've heard,
Not
too.
all of it.
Now, is Triple H okay with it?
Until he comes out with a book, then I guess he's going to have to be.
And give him time because I am sure he will.
I'm sure he will, too.
Let's go to line 6, and from Dayton, it's John. John, hi, you're on the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, Shawn. Hey, Willie.
Hey, what's up?
I was wondering, do you think Kurt Angle's going to be a fan favorite now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think they're going that way.
All right. Yeah, that was about it. I was just wanting to know.
I love when we can just do one word answers to questions.
Yep,
that makes it so much easier to me. Yep. Just put that on a cart so that we can just have, yep.
Yeah, indeed.
Indeed.
We need to get that one. We need to get, can we get that next week, get that sound effect? And
Yeah.
if it's a question that we know the answer to and say yes, just hit that. Indeed.
I'll see if I can hunt that up.
Okay,
on
please do so. Hit Napster or something like that.
Okay.
All right. Line 7, it is Stevie D. Steve, hi. Welcome to the Wrestling Guys.
Hey guys, couple comments real quick.
Sure.
I got the perfect idea for them for the Royal Rumble.
Okay. This is the perfect idea.
Perfect idea.
All right.
If they don't get a big buy rate Sunday night, I guarantee they get a big one on the replay Tuesday night.
Okay.
Okay.
What you do is you have the world title match on before the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Have it a thing where the title's held up vacated, to where Triple H and Kurt Angle are not the champion. You enter them in the Royal Rumble, give them a late number so they got time to rest. Then the champion of the Royal Rumble is going to be the champion.
That's a very good idea. I like that idea.
Interesting.
That would be
Actually,
very
the
good.
Royal Rumble is generally last, though, anyway, too, so that you can do that.
So, and also, I really see for the WrestleMania how it's going to play out. I see Triple H winning this weekend, Rock winning the Rumble, Austin Triple H fighting before WrestleMania, Austin winning the title, and then him defending the title in Texas.
There's another pay-per-view in between, so.
The one thing, though, I think is that, for Austin going back to Texas and being in the main event, I think it would make more sense for him to be going after the title than to defend it, because the thrill comes from the chase of the title, not defending it.
Yeah,
that's true.
So that's the one thing I think. I still think Austin's in the main event, but I think he's going to be the challenger, not the champion.
True, but they could always vacate it before WrestleMania also and give them a shot then.
They can do anything. They are the WWF.
All right, thanks a lot for the phone call. Nice take. Appreciate that. 457-1065 if you want to hop on board tonight, talking about the Royal Rumble, talking about WCW, ECW, a lot of stuff. And also, a little bit later on tonight, we're going to talk about the trial going on down in Florida. And
I haven't been following a lot of that.
We've got a recap of it. I'm going to go off on a rant, so you can either stay tuned for that, or you can hang up, or not hang up.
I would run right out and buy a tape recorder for that.
Wouldn't you, though? I think that's what everybody wants to do. But we're going to do that and a whole lot more. Real quick, I want to mention this. Pro Wrestling Illustrated is out with their 2000 Achievement Awards. And we're going to cover some of these throughout the night.
Okay.
But one of the things that PWI has done since they've restructured their magazine a little bit is in every issue they have these top 10 lists. And fans get together and they make their own top 10 lists, and some serious, some humorous. And I want to read this one. Again, this is the new PWI, what issue? April 2001 edition. The top 10 rejected names for ECW pay-per-views. And this was from Raymond Wexler in Tempe, Arizona. You ready for this?
I'm sure he's listening.
All right, number 10, Living Rather Safely, actually. Number 9, Bleeding Heavily. Number 8, Mid-Carter Mania.
I like that one.
Number 7, Late February to Remember. Number 6, you guessed the matches. Number 5, Way Better Than Anything WCW Ever Does. Number 4, 3 Hours of Easy Money.
Oh, no, yeah, okay.
Number 3, Carino-thon.
Okay.
Number 2, Invasion of the Indie Guys. That could be the next pay-per-view. And actually, you know what? This one could be the number 1 rejected name for the next ECW pay-per-view.
Wait. You got the drum roll?
Do you have a drum roll, Julia?
We've had a drum roll before.
I think Jay was just being cute. Okay. And the number 1 rejected name for an ECW pay-per-view, Massacre in Paul Heyman's Basement. There you go. That's very nice. Again, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. We'll cover some of their awards in just a minute. We're going to take a break. When we come back, your phone calls, 457-1065. We are the Wrestling Guys.
On Buckeye Country, 106.5.
On the Wrestling Guys, it's Buckeye Country 106.5. I am Shawn Stidham, Willie FN, Jay across the board. You might know her as the 69th Wonder of the World, but we're changing her name tonight. She is now just simply Jay. You like that? I thought you would. Anyway, and Marty Adams on special assignment tonight. How special? It's so special we can't tell you. It's that secret.
I don't even know what it is.
We are brought to you by Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz. Put a tiger on... I didn't know if you're going to be back in time. It's nice to see you back.
Thank you.
And, call 1-800-INJURED. And offices in Middletown, Springfield, Piqua, downtown Dayton,
everywhere.
Beaver Heights, you name it, they've got an office there. They are known as Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz. Now, there is a trial going on down in Florida, which you may have seen. It's getting a lot of mainstream media press. And it involves a 13-year-old boy whose name is Lionel Tate. And the reason he is going to trial is that in 1999, he beat to death a 6-year-old girl named Tiffany Unick. Now, during the attack, he pulverized her liver, smashed her skull, broke a rib. She had a number of cuts and bruises on her body. Basically, she was beaten to death. Now, they're trying him as an adult. If he is found guilty, he faces a mandatory 25-year sentence with no parole if convicted. Now, he was 12 years old at the time this happened. He weighed 170 pounds. Now, the reason we are talking about this here tonight, defense attorney Jim Lewis says the death was an accident blamed on professional wrestling. He did not understand that he could hurt the 48-pound girl if he punched her and threw her, because he had seen pro wrestlers do that hundreds of times without injuring each other. This was child's play, and it's dangerous. He was trying to bring in The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and others to testify and basically try to blame wrestling for the cause of this young girl's death. And the other thing, too, about this, the World Wrestling Federation is suing Jim Lewis for libel for trying to associate this death with professional wrestling. And I think this is a perfect case, Willie, of where a lawyer is trying to hook his name onto something to try and get a lot of mainstream media attention for himself.
What's that lawyer's name?
Jim Lewis.
Do you have a phone number?
I don't have a phone number.
Because, I'd like to call him up because I think a lot of my my current relationships have been ruined by Temptation Island. But that's just me.
Now, they showed some video earlier this week where the lawyer was in with the kid and trying to basically emulate what happened.
Yes.
And what the kid did, I guess, according to the video, it was whip the girl, kind of an Irish whip, into a staircase, and the girl hit her head. And that's what they said killed her. However, you start looking at these other injuries with the liver and the different cuts and bruises and whatnot. And originally, when it first happened, the young boy, Lionel Tate, said, well, we were playing tag. She fell, hit her head, and that's how she died. About 2 weeks to a month later, this lawyer shows up and says, you know what? It's the WWF's fault.
That's right.
It's wrestling's fault. Now, I don't want to make...
Now, what is he trying to get out of this? Is he actually trying to... is he going to try to sue the WWF, or is he just trying to make a bad name for him?
I think is he a member of the PTC?
I
don't know, and I don't want to make light of this because, the bottom line is a 6-year-old girl is dead.
Absolutely.
God willing, please, I hope I never have to go through that kind of grief because I don't think I could handle it, so I don't want to pretend I know what it's like. But if you've got to try and blame somebody, or you got to try and blame something, wrestling is not it. Horseplay happens all the time. Kids play rough. Wrestling is not the only activity that kids emulate, where you're physical and you horse around. Kids get hurt playing backyard football.
Sure.
Kids have died from that.
Yep.
Kids get hurt playing Power Rangers, pretending to be Batman. The problem is, without proper supervision, accidents will happen. My question is, where were the parents in this incident?
Exactly.
That you have a 170-pound boy throwing around a little girl who's 6 years old.
I agree with you 100%.
And and you go back, if you want to try and blame certain things in the media, when Superman came out in 1978, 3 kids died because they thought they could fly like Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
They put on a cape, jumped out the window, jumped off a building. They ended up dying. Did DC Comics get sued? Did anybody say, it's the producers of the movie's fault?
Right.
No, did not happen. When an 8-year-old boy was killed after he got drilled in the chest on a line drive, nobody said, baseball's fault. They were trying to be baseball. Now, if the death occurred because they were wrestling, not playing tag, like was the original claim, the attorneys claim that this kid has mental problems and that he only is as intelligent as an 8-year-old. So again, you go back. Why was a 170-pound boy that has mental problems being allowed to play rough with a 6-year-old girl?
I agree.
That's not wrestling's fault.
No, it's not.
And if kids want to pretend to be The Rock, they want to pretend to be Goldberg, we get these calls all the time about backyard wrestling. That's fine, as long as it's supervised, as long as you have some rules and restrictions. It's fine. Go ahead, do that, because, by God, I'm not going to lie, when I was younger, we all certainly did it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You do that. But, unfortunately, this is a make a buck, anything for a buck, inside edition society. When you can't blame individuals, you've got to blame the media. And when wrestling is going to be guilty of a lot of things. Admittedly, it is. It's not for everybody. There's certain things kids should not watch. But in this case, wrestling is not responsible for the death of this little girl. But unfortunately, there's always going to be somebody that will make you believe it if they can get a buck out of it.
Absolutely. Shawn, I couldn't agree with you. I thought that was very well spoken. And as a parent, well, you're a parent also.
Right.
But as a parent, I sit and I watch. If he's going to watch the WWF with me, or if he's going to watch WCW, granted, he never watches the ECW.
Right.
See, exactly. I won't let him.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
Studio.
But at the same time, it's like, with the WWF and stuff, there are some times that, it's like, okay, and I explain things, though, to him, too. Mm-hmm. He knows that it's a work.
Exactly.
Right? And I've explained it to him. I've explained him how things work. I've explained it to him, but, granted, he still gets caught up in it.
Sure.
And at the same time, it's one of those things where if he, if he does, start any of that type of behavior, like with school or things like that, I will take back some of the wrestling from him. But at the same time, that's not the only thing. That means that Power Rangers is gone, Digimon, Pokemon, all that stuff. Anything that has to do with fighting is gone.
And you walk down, of course the joke is sometimes I play with toys or whatever, but if you go to Toys R Us and walk down the aisle, wrestling is not the only violent type of toy that's out there.
Absolutely not.
You see Power Rangers, you see Street Fighter 2, you see Resident Evil, you see Digimon, Pokemon at times certainly can be. You see the different Spawn action figures, and maybe you want to say, okay, society as a whole maybe is a little bit too too leaning towards violence or whatever. And certainly we enjoy wrestling. I love wrestling. I watched it from a very young age. But, you have to be able to monitor what your kids do. When I went to David McIntosh's house for backyard wrestling at his house for birthday parties, his parents were out there. There were rules. There's certain moves you can't do.
Right.
If they thought it was getting too rough, hey, cut it out. But that was no different than when we played backyard football.
Right.
There's a lot of different things. Hell, when I was, 7 years old, the cool thing was to grab a couple of sticks with me and my cousin Rob and whack each other because we were having a lightsaber fight from Star Wars.
Absolutely.
So kids play rough, kids play hard. It's a natural thing. Do accidents happen? Yes. Are they tragic? Sometimes, unfortunately. But when it does happen, you can't, take a spin on Booker T, you can't blame the game.
But exactly. I think you need to know, if you don't know your child and you don't know what limits, that you need to place on your child, well, then that's your fault. You can't tag that on anyone else. I mean, if you feel that, having him watch wrestling, is going to be detrimental to him and it is starting to show some violent behavior, well, guess what? Then you do pull the wrestling, but then you pull other things too.
It's not just wrestling that is violent.
Exactly.
If it is violent, Power Rangers.
Either that or you explain, though, too. It's like, he knows that, that they are professionals that do it. He knows that, that that's not the type of behavior that he's supposed to do.
And I don't know if I want to put a lot of blame on this 12 or 13-year-old boy, because certainly a 12 or 13-year-old should know enough that you can't, beat up a person like apparently he did. But at the same time, if he truly does have these mental problems where he is only as intelligent as a 7 or 8-year-old, then again, you go back to the parenting and say, well, then why were you allowing your daughter to play with this kid? With the kids, whoever his guardian or parent is, why weren't you watching your kid and preventing this? Because in no way, if were they home by themselves? Because if they were, I've got a 12-year-old kid who has mental problems and a 6-year-old girl, that's a big problem as well.
I agree.
And I understand it's not a perfect society anymore. A lot of times both parents work. Certainly in my family that's the case. But, ultimately you have to be responsible for your kids. And, I don't know if you can blame the child in this entirely. And I hope...
No, I don't think that you can.
I really hope, because he's going to have to live with this. Eventually he's going to realize, if he hasn't already, what he has done. And to put him away for 25 years and, when he gets out 38, that's not going to help him.
I don't think so either.
He needs help. He needs counseling.
I agree.
Trying him as an adult in jail is not, I think, the right thing to do in this case. Now, if it turns out that, he doesn't have the mental problems the lawyer says he does, if he did have a mental grasp of what he was doing, then you look at it from another angle.
Right, and I don't know if you can necessarily say that a 12-year-old have a mental grasp on what he was doing.
Yeah,
especially if he's only intelligent as an 8-year-old.
Right. Well, even if he did not have the mental problems and he was still 12, that's still, it's hard to kind of say you knew what you were doing.
Sure.
When he's 12.
Yeah, but at the same time, when most 12-year-olds, I think, know that you can't take a little girl or a little kid and bash their head against a staircase. You can't, kick them. And, the girl had just multiple injuries. It was a horrible, horrible story. I mean, this is a tragic, sad incident.
Oh,
but I think that instead of somebody, looking at a person and saying, you're the one to blame for this, or, you should have been responsible, they want to, again, blame something else. And in this case, wrestling is the bad guy. And I think it's an unfair finger to point.
I agree with you.
The parents just don't want to take the responsibility.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I know. Let's go ahead and take a break. We want to get your phone calls on this, plus a whole lot more. Royal Rumbles this weekend, WCW, 457-1065. We are the Wrestling Guys.
On Buckeye Country, 106.5.
6.5. I am Shawn Stidham. Willie F's in here. Jay across the board. And it's still the same producer. It's just, she wants a different name tonight. Want to take a phone call. Let's go to line 2. I guess this person's a lawyer, right, Jay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Jeff.
Jeff, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing just fine. Which law firm are you with?
I'm work by myself.
Oh, okay.
And have for about 19 years.
Oh, okay. So you want to talk about the... Go ahead. Sorry.
I said I've been both a prosecutor and a defense attorney.
So you've been on both sides of the fence.
Right. Exactly.
And you want to talk about the case down in Florida?
Right.
Hit it.
And well, first of all, we talked about one thing that lawyers do, especially in criminal work, is, if nothing else, well, let's divert attention to somebody else.
Right.
They spend their lives saying, oh, the minute they get to the point that the minute somebody does something, it's no longer their fault. I was either raised bad or my parents didn't love me. It's an avoidance thing. That way they can point the finger, you said wrestling or whatever it is, Twinkies or TV, and the purpose is, well, let's not hold this kid accountable.
Right.
The second thing is, the old you hear it 1,000 times. Well, this kid is mentally slow or whatever. He has, in this case, the brains of an 8-year-old. When my kids were 8, they knew they didn't steal. They didn't slap people. They didn't pick up guns. My kids are science fiction fans. They see all the movies, but they understand it's not real. So they know right and wrong. And the third point is, and I've seen it myself, is that sometimes you have 12-year-olds who are killers.
Sure.
And that's the long and the short. We had a big one up here. They called it the Christmas killing. They shot somebody for their shoes.
Right. Yeah. Right. I remember that.
And to blame wrestling it's simply an avoidance to say, okay, this kid isn't responsible because he's a kid and kids don't do this. Well, I know that they do it, and the whole point of this lawyer is it's a nice way to get the focus off what this is, in which case a girl was beat to death.
Absolutely. And what's going to happen is, and it's already happening, the Associated Press picks up the story. I'm sure all the your tabloids, Enquirer, Star, they'll pick up that story, and when they run the headline, wrestling kills little girl.
Right. And the next is Good Morning America, Geraldo Rivera, to where this guy is trying this case in the press.
So I guess, I mean, we really can't, we can criticize the lawyer for his tactics, but at the same time, you have to respect him for his tactics because he's doing his job.
Well, I guess that's where we part company. I think what somebody should do is the lawyer's job is to defend somebody's rights, not the crime. And I think when you start taking people and saying, okay, let's blame wrestling, or let's blame junk food, or let's blame sugar, in an effort to cast a spin on something, then I think you've perverted the system. I think the system is about...
I agree with you.
Good point.
It's about,
I agree with you.
The lawyer's job is, okay, let's see who's accountable, not who can we blame. And then what you do is maybe the kid needs counseling, and you work within that. But the other part of our system is punishment.
Yeah, if this kid is truly has the mental problems, which they say he does, I don't think that sending him to jail for 25 years is the right answer. I agree with you. He needs counseling, he needs therapy, he needs help, because at some point he's going to realize what he has done and realize